Hey everybody, it's Matthew. Welcome back to my channel. Feeling the change today. How are you feeling? Huh? Good? Bad? Okay? Miserable? Get over it. Alright? Can tell you I've had enough misery in my life to last a lifetime. I don't need it anymore. I don't even want to think about it. So, I'm going to put on my pimp hat and we're going to get crack-a-lackin'. Let's see what's up on the agenda for today. Last time we did my car oil change experience, and the time before that it was stress. Today, though, we're going to get a little bit more controversial up in here. Don't make me put you on the list. Let's see, who do I want to put on the list today? Liars. Let's put liars on the list today. Liars. You know what's a really huge problem in our society? Lying and people who lie. All right. You could honestly say people lie so much in our society. That's the basis of our society, is just sweet little lies to keep it going. Let's see. So what's like the biggest lie? The biggest lie, one of the biggest lies going is the government has no control over inflation. And they're just so surprised every time they print a couple $1 trillion and cause massive inflation. They're like, oh my God, guys, we printed all this money. Why did all this inflation happen? It's such a Scooby-Doo mystery, isn't it? It's like, no, government, no. You printed all this money. Stop printing money and causing inflation and crippling the rest of us. But they don't care because they're millionaires, billionaires, and they don't care. What's an extra couple bucks to them? Basically nothing. They hand out $20 bills as tips to everyone. All right. Tip the doorman, tip the driver, tip the waiter. Poop, 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 poop. Here's $20. Probably even $50. So, yeah. So liars. I hate liars. I have been the victim of liars over and over and over again in my life. Granted, that makes me too trusting of a person. But wouldn't you like to be able to trust the people you're around that you're talking to? It sucks so much that over the course of my life, I have had to learn this lesson like the hard way. Okay? That you just can't trust everyone. Okay? In fact, you can't trust most people. But we're on the government right now. So the government and their lying ways. So let's put down the government and their lying ways. Shocking, I know, the government lies. Can you believe it? So they lie about inflation. They've been lying about inflation since 2020. They've technically been lying about inflation your entire life. But the lies have just been worse since 2020. You know, it's just temporary, transitory. Don't worry about it. Ignore the inflation over here. Which all they had to do was have a recession and remove money from the system. Okay? And they would have kept inflation at their mandated 2 to 3%. Instead, inflation was like 50% in 6 years. And in many cases, 100%, honestly. In 6 years' time, houses have gone up 100% in price. Cars have gone up 100% in price. That is maniacally insane. Maniacally insane. Like, you have to be like an evil villain to even think like that's okay. It's like we've trained all of our slaves to only to accept 2 to 3% inflation per year. Will the slaves notice the 100% inflation in 6 years? Will they? Yes, the slaves have noticed. And if you don't think of yourself as a slave, well, you're stupid and wrong because you are a slave. Let's just put that out there. Because as the man George Carlin said, there's a big group of important people out there, and you ain't in it. So, like, the vast majority of us are not in it. So that's just inflation. That's just one topic that's ruining everybody's life. That is easily preventable by the government not printing money, not starting more wars. But that's why they didn't have a recession, is because Joe Biden was fighting the war in Ukraine. All because he wanted to put nuclear missiles to target Russia in Ukraine. And Russia was like, no, man, you're not doing that. So they invaded Ukraine. Reasonable response. Like, hey, Russia, I'm Joe Biden. I'm going to put nuclear missiles in Ukraine pointed at you. What are you going to do about it? Huh? What are you going to do about it, Russia? What are you going to do about it, Russia? It's like, oh, I guess we're going to invade Ukraine and stop this garbage. And, yeah, so that's what they did. Because America is a giant bully that bullies the entire world. And we've been the giant bully of the world since World War II. Good old World War II, the boomer talking point. The never-ending conversation about World War II. Crazy. So that's inflation. I mean, you've noticed cars have gone up 100%, houses have gone up 100%, food items have gone up 100% in 6 years. Basically everything. And if the price hasn't gone up, the size has gotten smaller, shrinkflation. The quality's gotten lower for the food and everything. It's pretty terrible, honestly. I'm really happy I bought this car before they started new model lines of cars and started making them crappier and cheaper on purpose. Like this particular car is a V6, runs like a champ, never gonna break down ever. And the newer versions of this car are clunky 4 cylinders that it's amazed they can push the car forward just because of how huge this car is. Like, it's not a sedan. This is a Lexus RX. It's a big SUV. And before you criticize me on that, I spent my hard-earned dollars for a reason, so I can keep driving and living my life. So if you want to be a cranky moron that's envious and like, oh man, that guy's so white privileged. He has this fancy car and things. It's like, wait a minute, shut up. I worked and paid for this car 100% by myself. So shut up. You understand? Shut up. You can get a job, do the same thing. All right? And to be quite frank, my job doesn't pay enough money to even justify like getting this car. I got this car because of my hearing issues. Okay? There is no way on earth I would have purchased this car otherwise. I probably would have gotten another sedan. Which it really sucks because I tried out the. I don't want to go on that tangent. I don't want to, no tangent there. Okay. Back to the government, back to inflation, back to liars. Dirty, dirty, dirty liars. The government's a massive liar. So how else is the government lying to you? Here's like the next section of the video right here. Focus, 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 focus. Excuse me while I take a drink from my water bottle. Waterlicious. Anyway, part 2. So the government's constantly lying to you about inflation was part 1. Part 2 is, I mean, the government's constantly lying to you about wars, right? And the reasons behind the wars. I touched on that already with the war in Ukraine and the nuclear missiles they wanted to put in Ukraine. But the war in Isreal that we're supporting is because our elected leaders are not in charge of the United States. Let that sink in for a minute. Donald Trump and every U.S. senator, every U.S. state representative do not have control over this country that they are supposed to represent. We are 100% controlled by transnational capital in the form of Israel. Israel runs the United States. How do I know that? Well, really simple. We've been supporting a literal genocide of the Palestinians over in Gaza for endless years now. So I'm going to write that down. So, lying about wars. Lying about wars. So I have Ukraine. Ukraine was a big fat lie. And then Gaza was a big fat lie. And then Iran is a big fat lie. Okay. So let's stay on Gaza for a minute. So the reason Gaza happened is because Israel covertly supplies Hamas with weapons, covertly to justify attacking and killing the Palestinians, and then the attack actually happens, a couple 100,000 people die, maybe 1,000, I don't remember, it doesn't even matter, it wasn't that many. Israel, in response, continues to bomb Palestine slowly and kill as many people as possible, including bombing hospitals and schools, and perpetually lying about it. And it's all so obvious. They just keep lying about it over and over and over again. Because their agenda is just to kill them all and expand Israel. Simple as that. So, next up, we have Iran. Oh, and the Lebanon. I forgot Lebanon. Lebanon's not quite as big as a deal, but Lebanon. It's all part of the same war. So, after they've been killing people in Gaza for years now, Israel realized that their world position of power based on the United States was getting weaker because people were starting to differentiate from the dollar and starting to use the Chinese yuan more, all right? Because they want to actually be able to win the war while the United States still has enough power to do so, and the longer they wait, the less power and authority the United States will have, because the United States will eventually lose its position as the world reserve currency. Currently, it still has that position, and I guess we should all be thankful to that for a certain degree, because only because of that has the inflation been subdued. Um, if we were a smaller country like Turkey or Iran, we would have way more than 100% inflation in 6 years. Way more. From the insane amount of money we printed. I think we printed 40% of all money to existence in the past 6 years. That's freaking insane. And the vast majority of it just goes to corruption. It doesn't go to you or me. So, um, that's another weird thought, because we all say, well, my tax dollars are going to this. And they are. But also, money is printed into existence, which are, I guess, technically backed by your tax dollars, which are also going to that. So yeah, Israel is invading Iran and Lebanon, or trying to. They're successfully attacking and invading Lebanon. We have failed miserably at invading Iran. We actually had a 100% failed invasion of Iran that the United States government lied about on the national media, and they called it a rescue mission. And we never found out the name of this air pilot. I said airline pilot, whatever. This fighter pilot that got shot down and was supposedly rescued. We never found out. He never got like a medal or anything. It was this massive excuse of this 100% failed ground invasion of Iran, where most likely many more soldiers died and we just haven't heard about it. So it's probably like slowly churning and being swept under the rug, and this soldier dies in a training exercise. This soldier dies in a training exercise. This soldier dies in a training exercise. This soldier dies in a training exercise, etc., etc., etc. So they're lying about the inflation, they're lying about the wars, they're lying about the reasons for the wars, because the reason for the wars is the Greater Israel Project. So, Greater Israel Project. Greater Israel Project. Which, if you want to take some time, boop, 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 look it up online, you can see a whole PDF plan of what Israel planned to do. And they're literally doing exactly that right now. They're planning on, finish killing everyone in Palestine and rebuild the whole place. But they screwed up because they found out Iran is not going to surrender, even though we decapitated their leader. Not like literally decapitated the leader, but decapitation strike is when you kill the leader of a country. They decentralized their government and planned their defense specifically against the United States because they know that this is what the United States does. They already saw it in advance with Maduro in Venezuela. They already saw it in advance with Saddam Hussein in Iraq. All right. They already saw it with Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan. Like, the playbook is out there. Shock and awe and decapitation didn't work on Iran. So now the only option for the United States is a prolonged war, total choking off of Iran, and ground invasion. Or we could take the L and just lose the war and give up. But the crazy thing is, if we do that, if we don't invade another country afterwards, we're going to look weak. So I think what could happen in best case scenario, we kibosh this war, blame Israel, because it is 100% Israel's fault. Israel is the shadow government of the United States. If you want to blame transnational capital, the other shadow government, well, you could blame them as well. But the goal is to make Israel the new center of power in the world. and put the kibosh on the United States. Okay? Which in the long term benefits the United States, because we're no longer strangled by transnational capital. Um, but we're talking like a decade from now where things actually start to get better. Um, the only problem is, again, the system is so corrupt at this point. We would have to go through a civil war and kill millions of people to actually flush out the garbage humanity that is in our society and make it better. Um, but that is a different point for a different video. Um, so the government's lying about inflation. They're lying about all the wars. Let me think for a minute about what else the government is lying about. Um, I'm pretty sure we all know by now the government lied about COVID. So I'm just going to put down COVID here. Um, the COVID vaccine was purposely designed as a massive genetic test to see if they could make other mRNA vaccines that wouldn't like instantly kill people. Because the boomers have all these aging problems and want to try and live forever. And theoretically, if you alter somebody's DNA enough, you could dramatically extend their life. But as we know what happened, a lot of people developed these horrible blood clots and just died. Okay? And I developed crazy health problems too. I can't drink alcohol anymore because I get weird feet swelling issues now after getting that COVID vaccine. I believe the government. That is unfortunate. That is my problem. And I could say I was pretty much awakened then by the COVID vaccine because the obvious negative end results and the sheer number of people dying. I think everyone lost faith in the government during COVID. And if you didn't lose faith in the government completely during COVID, then you 100% lost faith in the government because of the Israeli war. And if you're still like la 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 la, don't no not happening. Wake up. So yeah. All right. So the government's lying about inflation. They're lying about all the wars. They're lying about COVID. I'm just gonna put down the news. The news. The news hasn't been actual news for a very long time. Pretty much the entire news is propaganda. But it gets worse than that. Not only is the news propaganda, but the entire controlled media is propaganda. Like every TV show, every single one pretty much. So the news is lying to you. All of TV is lying to you. Then you have the radio lying to you as well, through a manipulative song. So you have the radio. You have YouTube plants. So the government wasn't hip for a while, and the youngins were on the internet on their YouTubes and their TikToks spreading the truth, and they didn't like that. So you had YouTube plants to counteract that. And then you have TikTok plants to counteract that. And for a very short period of time, like this is the reason the government demanded China sell them TikTok or be shut down, because people were posting the truth about things on TikTok and they couldn't censor it because it was a Chinese website. All right? So the government doesn't like truth. They don't. So I guess we could just pretty much write down 99.9% of all media you see is lying to you on a daily basis. The like 99 point, you know what, I'll give it the benefit of a doubt. I want to 0.9. I'll just do 99% of media is lying or manipulating you. Now, I don't like putting out videos without a solution, because that's just complaining and that doesn't help anybody. So we are now in the solution section. Ooh. I think that's enough points. I think you understand that literally everybody is lying to you on a governmental perspective, keeping the crappy system going. And people in social relationships lie a lot as well, and that needs to be fixed. So I'll just put that down as 0.5. People in general are just lying all the time. People in general are lying all of the time. And what's the obvious solution? I'll let you think about it as I take a drink. So oh no. Spilled water on myself. Whatever, it's water, I'll get over it. So what's the solution? The solution is you stop lying in your daily life. And you make other people stop lying and you call them out on their crap. Okay? So the solution. Solution number 1. You stop lying and make other people stop lying. Which you call them out on their crap. So call them out. Call them out. You might have to yell, so it might involve some yelling. So yelling. Now, there has to be consequences as well. It depends what they did and what they're lying about, but you have to give people consequences. So the solution is pretty easy. You stop lying. You force other people to stop lying. You yell at them, and you give them consequences. All right? And they have to feel those consequences. It can't be a slap on the wrist. It can't be a slap on the wrist. All right? So you have to work on this from the bottom up. You can't work on it top down. You can't call the government out on their lies and expect the government to do anything. The government's not going to do anything. You have to start on your level and work your way up, because you have to grow a group of non-liars known as a community. So you, as solution 2, grow your cohesive community. So when you grow your cohesive community with shared values, like not lying, calling people out on their crap, having consequences, if you want to just use a different word, have punishment for people, You keep expanding that community and growing your influence. And once you actually encompass, let's say, an entire town, you kind of have made it to a certain degree, but you can't rest on your laurels there. You just can't rest there. You also can't be morally unbendable, because you can't have somebody do something wrong to you and then take a holier than thou, turn the other cheek Jesus attitude and not punish them, because you have to punish them. All right? You can't be so narrow-minded. You can't plug your brain into Bible 1.0 and that's your whole thought process. It doesn't work. I've been there. Don't do it. All right? So, yeah. So that is the starting fix for this. The fix for lying is make people tell the truth. Yell at them, give them consequences, and you grow your community with these shared values. Now, here's part of the problem. Once your community gets big enough to challenge local government, the government is going to come after you and point guns at you. And you are going to have to point guns at them too. All right? That's just reality. It's happened numerous times in our history across the United States, across the entire world. It happens over and over and over again in this cycle of violence, because the people at the top get too greedy. They screw up the system. They become really stupid and lazy, and they just kick the can down the road and don't do any maintenance. Let's put it that way. Don't do any maintenance. Don't do anything. Just hope they they hope the system keeps going. All right. And they give you endless distractions in the form of media, TV, radio, whatever, to keep the system going. But you and I both know that the system is not going well. It's sick and diseased and needs to be put down. We've tried the antibiotics. We've tried antiviral medications. It's not working. Needs to be put down. So that's solution 3. Solution 3 is be prepared to defend yourself and your community. So be prepared to defend yourself and your community. Okay. I feel like I could keep talking on this point for hours, because there are so many different layers of lies that are in our society. But today I've taken on it from a governmental control level. I've given you the solution. Get off your phones. Stop being online. Talk to people in real life. Stop lying. Form a community. Literally roll back time to the early 90s. No. Let's go back further. We need to roll back time to the 1980s. Okay? Computers were there. They were used with a purpose. All right? Cell phones existed. They were only used when you needed them. Okay? So roll your brain back, think about it, and that is the life you need to start living. You need to meet people in real life. You need to actually talk to your community. You need to be part of some kind of community. If you have no friends, join a club and try and make some friends. It doesn't matter what age they are. Okay? I mean, preferably get people within like a 10-year age range of yourself, or you're probably not going to be able to relate that well. I guess you could expand it to like a 20-year age range if you really need to. Um, find some friends, find community, get this going, get outside, talk to somebody, be decent, stop lying. It's not hard. It's not. You can do it. I do it. I talk to people when I'm out walking. I don't lie to people anymore. All right. I mean, and it's such a weird thing. I think I'll leave off with this. It's such a weird thing that just because I'm not lying and being truthful on a daily basis, that people see that through like an abrasive, like sandpaper lens, and it just rubs them the wrong way, because all they do all day is lie. All they do is consume lies all day in every single piece of media. But they never address the problem. Never. And it's so easy to address the problem. You're going to feel a little awkward at first. It's going to feel a little abrasive. Get over it. Get over yourself. They need to get over their self too. You can do it. I did it. I did it. It's like I'm here online to the world, not lying on YouTube. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's enough. I'll see you later. This has been Matthew over at Feeling the Change Today. And you will feel better when you stop consuming lies and stop lying to everyone around you. It's like, does that shirt make me look fat? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Maybe you should put down the donuts and the ice cream. Eat some vegetables. Exercise a little bit. I'm pretty fat. All right. But I have put down the crappy foods and exercised a little bit. And I'm getting better at it. You can too. And stop lying. And that's the end of this video. Boop, boop, boop. Done. I'll see you later.